There it is. All right, we are now recording, and I want to thank everyone for, again, joining us at the Tasting Hall presentation hosted by Enotec Imports. Michael Heintz is here as the owner and of the amazing winery previously owned by Blair Taylor, who has been, along with Michael, had been with Glunz Wines now for well over, oh God, I think it's well over 20 years. But it is fantastic to have you, Michael, as well as three of your fabulous suppliers. We are going to have a great time running through the entire frame of Italy, which I'm excited to go ahead and share the new addition to this presentation. And yes, you can call me a geek, a computer dork if you want. But here we go. So here we are in beautiful Chicago, Illinois. I hope that can everybody see that the map there? Excellent. So we are going to hopefully be able to do a quick little presentation for you. And we are going to leave here in Chicago, and we are going to head to Italy via Google Maps. Give us a little graphical interface as to what we're talking about here. So here we are in Italy, and we're going to hit all of these little beautiful spots on our tour today, which I'm super excited. We are going to start off up north in the Piedmont region to go visit a little area known as Barolo and in Piedmont. And then we are going to go visit, this spectacular little spot that is Gianni Gagliardo. We have Stefano Galliardo with us today, so that's going to be fantastic. Then we are going to sneak out of Piedmont, and we're going to head down to beautiful Tuscany. And in Tuscany, we're going to head down to Chianti Classico to go visit Rodano winery. And we're going to check out all of their 3 different vineyards. And then we are going to sneak even further south down to taste some Terra Rossa del Montalcino. So we've got Vito presenting there. So enough of this geeky computer stuff. Let's sneak back and jump into presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed that graphical view of our our tour today. But I'm going to introduce and welcome Michael Heintz. Michael, thank you so much for getting your team together and putting together what I know is going to be a great tour and tasting.
Thank you so much, Joe, to you and Dan, Abby, and everyone for all the hard work. I love that you guys are doing this, and I'm personally a fan of seeing where places are in relation to the zone that they come from or the country of Italy. So I think it's a great way to help bring to life what it is we're trying to do today. But I own Enotec. I've owned it just shy of 2 years now. It's hard to believe. I feel like I've lived dog years this year, just in terms of everything that's gone on over the course of 2020. But I'm so pleased to have succeeded Blair in this. Blair and I have been friends for 30 years and opened competing Italian restaurants down the street from one another way back when. And he came to me about 2.5 years ago and presented me with what I felt was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to represent families such as Enrico's and Stefano's and Rudy's family from Terra Rossa. We're really focused on the kinds of wines that really got me excited about the world of wine to begin with, which is not only Italian wine, but wines that have a sense of place, and wines that express typicity for where they're coming from, and producers that are using interesting approaches blended with traditional techniques. And as Joe said, we've been with Glunz for over 20 years. Really happy with the partnership and happy to see all of you, many of whom I've met before, not everyone. So I'm pleased to introduce Stefano Galliardo from Poderi Gianni Gagliardo in Piemonte. And Stefano is going to take us through a few of his wines here. You guys should have all the samples in front of you. You should have an Roero Arneis, and then a Barbera Madama, and then also the Gianni Gagliardo GG Barolo 2015, a not crappy vintage of wine from the Barolo zone. So I'll turn it over to Stefano and let him kind of take us on a journey here. And he's in the middle of harvest, so we really appreciate, and all of them are in the middle of harvest for that matter. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us today.
Bene, grazie. Grazie molte, and hello to everyone here. Thank you, Joe, for organizing this. I was kind of thinking about possibilities to do some kind of events like this, and I'm glad that you made it. No, so I think this is a great opportunity to be connected, even far away, and showing live, what we are doing today. As Michael said, this is a special time for us because we are not in the middle. I would say a bit more than in the middle. We are towards the end of the white grapes today, and so normally during this time of the year I'm not able to travel to talk wine with people and to meet people. So this is a great opportunity. So maybe I can tell you a little bit about the Gagliardo winery in short, and then I ask maybe Michael or anybody to interrupt me if you have questions, or maybe if Michael you want to give me timing, because the risk is that when we talk wine we talk a lot and maybe too much.
Especially you, Stefano.
Yeah,
I will interrupt 1 second to just kind of do one piece of house cleaning. I did want to make sure if anyone has any questions, please do throw those in the chat. I will then keep track of those and try to throw those out to everyone as those come up. And sorry for the interruption, my friend.
No problem. In the meantime, I'm just walking down in outside in the cellar, because at least I want to give you a welcome in the Lange, where I am right now. So maybe I don't know if the phone will allow you to have a look where we are. So we are in the middle of the Barolo area right now. We are in La Morra, facing a crew which is very important to us, which is called Serra dei Turchi, and this is the place. Of course, all of the Nebbiolo grapes are right now hanging, and I think we'll be there for at least another 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on the plots. We are here in this place since 1961. The Gianni Gagliardo winery was basically a dream of my grandfather, which was making wine, dolcetto wine nearby on a village called Diano d'Alba, which is just nearby Barolo area, but it's not included in the Barolo zone. And so for him, this was very much the engine, that brought him to work all lifelong to be able to achieve this dream and be able to buy a little piece of land in the Barolo area. And so we are here. Since then, that one single piece of land became 8 crew of Barolo in 5 villages. And as well, part of our land is in the Roero area, which is 3 kilometers, like a couple of miles north of the Barolo area. So very near, geographically speaking, but pretty different in terms of soil and characters of the wines. So the cellar is being in La Morra is basically in the center of this geography, because the same distance I have from Roero is the distance I have from Serralunga, which is the far away vineyard for us of the Barolo in the Barolo area. No, so we do wines. We vinify all of the wines here in this cellar. This is why now, I mean, the action here is like 3 weeks long, you know, because we start with the Favorita and we finish with Nebbiolo Cru. You know? It's kind of fun because I see that today there is an Arneis, the Arneis 2018 to taste. I'm sorry, maybe there is a little bit of noise because we need a refrigerator and also the press is going. So let me go inside. But the fun thing is that the press now, we're just pressing Arneis. So
what perfect timing.
So we have just pressed the last plot of. I think I still yes, I have some bunches. The ideal was to be connected like half an hour ago, you know. But now I kept some bunches for you to see. You know, you see the Arneis bunch is not very big, but as well is not that small. Has maybe some Chardonnay. The Arneis gets a pretty golden color in the front where the sun hits, and then is very, very green behind. And these may appear like to be a very fresh and acidic grape, but it's not. It's just the aesthetic. Arneis is not very much like that. Arneis has a good level of freshness, but it's not very much a killer in terms of freshness. And this is what we just pressed this year. Very good quality. Very, I would say, almost unexpected, because many of you knows that the season was very rainy. We had all of the spring with a lot of rain, so we were a little bit concerned about the quality of the grapes. But at the end of the day, I have to say we are here and we are very happy about the grapes that we just crushed. I don't know if you have the wine already in front of you or not. Maybe Joe can tell us if benissimo. So the wine is what you see. That was the first vintage for us. So you have to know that for me, white grape was always favorita for a very long time. We started in 1974, so for us, no. And Arneis, that is the main grape of our area, was kind of for us was not very much in the first one, because 45 vintages, a little bit out of mission. We started to vinify this Arneis, which is planted on a very sandy soil. You have to know that Roero has different type of soils, but the most representative one is sedimentary sandy soil. Is a calcareous soil, is a calcareous sand, so it's pretty clear white in color, with lots of that provides lots of salinity into the wines. That's not the only one soil we have in Roero. This is the one that we choose. This is the one that we believe is characterizing the wines more. They are more interesting in those soils. That's why we planted all our grapes in this kind of soil, and I think that kind of soil is pretty readable in the wines from Roero and in the glass of Arneis, which you have in front of you. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but this is what we do when we want to make the wines. We want to bring character, and in that case is a salinity. By the way, it's very interesting that this year the whites which we pressed so far, I mean the grapes we pressed so far are already showing tons of salinity, which is pretty unusual, because when you have juice, to feel a strong salinity in a just pressed juice is not so evident. It's not so clear. Sometimes that you can feel them. You can feel it more in the wine when the wine is done and the wine is clean, But right now I have to tell that in general, plot by plot, we have these very pleasant, very strong, very clear salinity, which is a curiosity of this year, and we will see if this happens to how this will turn to be into the glass of the 2020. And then I think you said, Michael, that we have the Barbera Madama, right?
Yes, that's right.
There.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So Barbera Madama is a bit different, because Barbera Madama, it's first of all is Barbera from Alba, which is different from what we do in Asti. We own also a winery in a small estate in
Stefano, we are having a little bit of difficulty hearing you. If you could cancel your video.
And
are you able to hear us?
Of us, which is very, very... Yes, absolutely. The line, maybe it's less strong. So now you should be okay.
Excellent. And if you want to cancel your video until you show us anything, that can save us a little bit of quality on the audio.
Okay. So now you hear me?
CC.
Okay, perfect. So now we have the Favorita coming. Now I'll show you the Favorita, some Favorita to... Whenever they are ready, I show you the Favorita, which is a very different bunch from Arneis. Bigger berries, bigger bunches. Favorita used to be considered a table wine table grape for a long time, and you can tell looking to the bunch. So now we have just the tractor here, so I will show you that to you. Anyway, little bit of about Barbera Madama. Barbera Madama is a combination of grapes from Roero and Lange. Roero and Lange brings very different character into the glass, but we found that the combination of the two may be interesting, because you have this the salinity I was talking about from Roero, but you have as well a little bit more of depth and elegance, which is provided by the soil we have in Langa. So this is the project. This is what we have behind, but we have in mind behind La Matta. So let me show you the Favorita. You hear me?
CC.
Yeah.
If I don't kill myself. Okay.
Please don't.
It's okay. Ragazzi, tiriamo giù? Ok, grazie. Vabbè, they need a little bit of time. Whenever they are ready, okay, they are.
So Stefano, what we're looking at is we have a tractor that just backed up with a load of Favorita grapes. And those are just being about to be opened from the backside to have dumped in the hopper, yeah?
Yep, here it goes.
Bene.
E via.
There's 2020 Allegro.
Yes, this is 2020 Allegro, one of the bases. You see how ripe it is.
Mm-hmm. Can you show us a bunch? Can you grab a bunch for us?
Of course. Let's take one. Okay. You see how big?
Those are huge.
Yes. This is particularly big, I have to say. Let's take this one. This is a bit more, let's say, standard, no? Regular, representative. Anyway, the bunch, the grapes are pretty big. Actually, they're very good as well. Very tasty and mineral. You can see, you can taste very much the salinity. These here are also on the grapes.
And Stefano, while we're on it, tell me about Allegro. It's Favorita, which is same thing as Vermentino, but why is it so different when it's made where you are?
Because this area has been an area of a red grape for a very long time. And in the middle of, on the late 1700s, we had many exchanges with the coastal area, with the Liguria region. Those exchanges, some plants of Vermentino came up here into the inland. But during that time, people had no idea to make a wine with those grapes. And so they started to grow the grapes, and the grapes were looking very nice and also tasting very good. So they started basically to use that as a table grape. Over time, as you can imagine, whenever people had to plant a new vineyard, they were not going to the nursery as today. They were not existing. So basically they were doing master selection. So they were choosing the plants they preferred in order to multiply what they liked the most. So as it was considered a table, they were using the plants with bigger bunches. So basically, little by little, they basically made a local clone. They created a local clone of a Vermentino, which is the Favorita. No? So basically, the DNA is Vermentino 100%, but the clone Favorita is a bit different. Also, another reason why we have fatter, bigger, juicier bunches here is our climate. Because normally Vermentino is grown somehow near to the sea. In most places is a coastal grape, where you have a level of ripeness which is different, no? So you have also drier bunches. So here we don't. Here we have a different climate. So that's also one reason why the bunch is different.
Now you do something different from a winemaking standpoint, though, too, which is part of what I love about Allegro, and that is it's got a little bit of petulance to it, right?
First of all, we do microvinifications in, let's say that plot by plot. This year I already made one maturation with skins on Favorita and two different maturations with skins and stems. The first two were 3 days long, and the second one with stems as well was just 24 hours. But it's very important because the sap, no, of the Favorita is very good, and so it gives minerals, it gives savor to the juice. And this is first of all something I do. Then normally I do not make any malo in the wines because the Favorita needs to be very vibrant and fresh. But only one plot goes through malo, and we keep the natural CO2 that we obtain into the wine. We do that just keeping the wine very cold, and so we obtain the very may feel or not at the very beginning, but change very much the character of the wine, because it basically makes two wines in one. So the first sip you have is somehow driven by this residual touch of CO2 that makes the wine a little bit refreshing and dancing on the tongue. But then after 1-2 minutes, this goes away from the glass, and you start to have basically a second life, a second wine, which speaks more about the soil, terroir, and the character of the place. So these, to me, is very important, because these are great friends that loves Allegro. They are absolutely no wine people. I mean, they don't understand nothing about wine, but they just love it, no? At the same time, I have Star Michelin restaurant sommelier that decides to pour Allegro by the glass, and they know very much about wine. No? So to me, this is pretty unique for a wine, to put together people, no, around the same bottle. This is something that, honestly speaking, happens to Allegro about my wines and not to other wines. To me, if I want to show Monvigliero Cru, Lazzarito Cru, Mosconi Cru to a crowd, I need Barolo people. I need wine people, right? So with Allegro, I can talk with wine people and non-wine people.
Well, Stefano, we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left here. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about GG Barolo 2015, and
Yeah.
Maybe you can turn your video off for a little bit, just so we can really hear you as you get into the story behind that vintage and that wine.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, now you hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Barolo, what we call Barolo Classico, no, is the one you have in front of you, is the result of a combination of all our plots we own in the area. So all of the grapes are our own grapes and are all organic, and some big cru, some top cru goes into that blend, like Lazzarito, like all of the cru I was mentioning before, Castelletto, for example, Fossati, wines that normally are used to go in the bottle as a single vineyard instead of going into the Classico Barolo. But in our opinion, in the design of the wine, that's not a second Barolo. That's just a Classico. That's just a different way to make Barolo. And you know that in Barolo area, we have two ways of making Barolo. The more traditional, which is made by a combination of different plots all together, and the one that is relatively younger, which is about having single vineyards into the bottle. So the Barolo Classico is just the first thing. So that's why we renounce basically to make more bottles of the Cru in order to have the grapes available to go into the Barolo Classico. Stylistically speaking, Barolo Gagliardo in general is a Barolo that aims to be pleasant and elegant already in the youth. The DNA of the Nebbiolo provides aging potential anyway. And makes wines that can live for very, very long time. But we have to be very careful about the ripeness of the grapes and extraction of the tannins, how much we extract and how we extract, in order to deliver a touch of elegance into the wines and not overload the wines of tannins. This is basically what we aim to do with our wines. And that is true for all our Cru and non-Cru. Barolo Classico up to every single Cru, that wants to be, let's say, the house touch, the house style, which for us is very important. To have a house style, first of all, because that to me is the essence of every winery. And at the same time, to have that specific one, which is very much the way we like in the wines, what we like to drink, no? And so this is basically the thing. Technical things are not so important. So if maybe somebody wants to know what kind of wood I use for the Barolo, so I use big casks of 35 hectoliters. I would love to have even bigger casks because the biggest is the cask and better is for me, because you have lesser and lesser influence into the wine, and especially for the Barolo, because then every grape is different, every area is different, every vineyard is different. But talking about my wines, what I've done over time is to switch from smaller woods of the past into bigger, and I would love to go ahead with this possibly in my future.
And tell us about 2015 briefly. I know a lot of people have had some that's gotten a lot of great press as a vintage. What do you think was great about it, and were there any challenges with 2015?
2015 to me is very interesting because is a vintage which is pretty available in terms of flavors, and you can appreciate 2015 without waiting too much time. For example, if you compare the 15 to the 16, you can feel that difference. 16 is something that in Barolo in particular, you will have to wait a little bit. This is not true with the 15. 15 is a wine which to me is pretty complete, where you have an aromatic expression, but you have at the same time the right level of body and juiciness that makes the wine pleasant and ready. No, this is something that we were not expecting, and I think the result of the 15 were due by two elements. One was the snow that we got in the previous winter, which was a lot of snow, and so we had water in the ground for a very long time. Until July, we had in the depth, we had still a lot of humidity, and this was saving very much the grapes because we had a very hot summer. And also, the second is a rain, which we got in September, about 10 days before the harvest, that basically helped the grapes, to the vineyards to revitalize again, to start again, to work again, and basically ripen the tannins and basically make the last step into ripeness. No? So I think if we didn't have that snow before, the year before, and that rain at the very end, probably the 2015 was like 2000. So very hot, warm, juicy Barolo, the kind of Barolo.
Yep.
I think we might have lost our friend here with connection, but
I think we got the point though. And we have some special prices with your team going on right now for Stefano's wines. maybe we switch over and we thank Stefano for his time and reintroduce Enrico to talk a little bit about Chianti Classico and his vineyards.
Great. So let's see if we can move on visually here, if the computer decides it wants to do it. And we're going to move out and move in. And Enrico, I think I can see you. Is that you right right there? Let's see. All right, my friend. Welcome, Enrico Rodano, Fattoria Rodano. You're on.
Hello, ciao to everyone. Welcome to my cellar. I can walk around because the connection here is very bad. I hope you can hear me.
That's perfect. We can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Like Stefano, we are quite at the end of the harvest, and you know, crazy weather, crazy harvest, because it's too in advance, and the problem is that is too hot, and the people, the worker, after midday, they die, and me too. But okay, the quality seems very good. We have to wait some months to say, but it seems very good. And also the quantity is not bad. So I'm tired, but I'm happy about this harvest. You know, Rodano is located in Castellino in Chianti, and my family started to make wine in 1958. So I am the fourth generation that are involved in agriculture and wine. But I am the first in the family that makes only this work. My father was involved also because he was the president of the consortium for many years when he went retired to make engineer. So I started to work in Rodano many years ago. The first vintage was 1980. So I'm quite tired, but because these 15 days of harvest every year are very hard, and year by year is more hard than the previous year. But it's okay, it's our work. What I can say, if you can show the Google Maps, I will say something.
Okay, let me just grab that for you.
Okay, this is the building, and the vineyards are all around the building.
And those are in yellow as we mapped out.
Okay, and is one block. Have you, the vineyard now that show with the mouse are for the regular. And then there is also Viacosta on the side. So there is a different, okay, now it's okay. Different soil, because the building is on the border, or two different kind of soil. In Viacosta, that now is on the right of the building, there is a soil, the origin is alluvial, so we don't have many rocks, many stones. So the soil is sedimentary. On the after Viacosta, after the little wood, in front of Viacosta, we have the Poggialupi. There is more clay, and the exposure is different. One vineyard looks the other. In the last years, Viacosta is southwest facing, and the Poggialupi is on the contrary. In the last years that the climate changed, also this kind of exposure, also in this place that are a little colder, we can have a very good quality. So maybe no one until 20 years ago will plant a new vineyard in direction of north. Maybe now is better than south facing.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about the Chianti Classico 2017.
Okay, 2017 was a vintage very similar to this one. We started before because we started with the Sangiovese 26, 27 of August. Never happened because the season was very dry. No rain all the year. But I'm very surprised of the freshness of this wine. The quantity was small, and that is the reason that we didn't release the Viacosta, because we put Viacosta inside the regular Chianti Classico. It's not only Sangiovese, there is also a small quantity of Colorino and Canaiolo. Maybe Canaiolo helps to the freshness of wine. Colorino yes, it was a grape to give color. Maybe in the last 10-15 years we don't need any color to add to Sangiovese, because the quantity of the production for hectare now are very low. Maybe this year that there is a good quantity. I don't go more than 6,000 kilos for hectares of grapes, maybe less. So we don't need the Colorino, but I have, and I put in the wine.
Okay. And tell me about your farming methods. You know, you do a lot of natural. You use very minimal inputs.
Yes. All the grapes are organic, certified organic from I don't remember, 2007 certified. But our philosophy is to do less is possible in the vineyard and also in the cellar. Mm-hmm. We use only natural spray. It's not natural. You can say that Rame and Zolfo are natural, but you know, we don't use product of synthesis. We don't use any insecticide, never. We try to do with the sexual confusion, so we don't need any spray, any insecticide. Mm-hmm. Cool. First of all, because I think that working in an organic way, if you do that, you are obliged to work much better in the vineyard with your hands. Mm-hmm. And also because we live here, and so we are the first that lives and work every day in the vineyards, and we don't want to have problems with health. It doesn't mean that organic wine is good and the conventional is bad. No, alcohol is alcohol, and everyone have to be careful.
Yeah,
It's only a way to respect the area, the terroir. And I'm very surprised that in the last 5 years, now more than 60-70% of all Chianti Classico is organic.
oh, interesting.
I think it will be organic 100% in a few years.
Hmm.
Also because we are very lucky because in our area we don't have a lot of problems of peronospora or idiom like in Veneto, in Trentino, or somewhere. I think in Piedmont is the same. In Barolo, they don't need to spray a lot like in other places.
Yeah. One thing that I've loved hearing you talk about is, the uniqueness of Sangiovese. We hear a lot about Pinot Noir being a very difficult grape to grow because it has a very thin skin, but you focus on Sangiovese in a way that I think is really unique. Can you tell us the good and the bad of dealing with Sangiovese?
Okay, Sangiovese also is a very particular grape. I never had any problems with the Merlot, and less problem with the Cabernet Sauvignon. Sangiovese is very delicate, I think, like Nebbiolo or like Pinot Noir. And also I have seen that the last 15 days that are very hot was not very, very good for Sangiovese. But I think that I never seen September like this to 32, 34 degrees every day. So it's very strange.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, I love that you get a balance that's different. Your wines have a natural acidity to them and a freshness, and it's not about intense amounts of wood. You get the structure from the grape, from the vineyard. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yes, it's very simple. The wine is made in the vineyard, not in the cellar. In the cellar, we don't have to do many things. Less things you do is much better. We don't add any ester. We don't add anything to the grapes. So only natural fermentation with the restage and pumping up. And we taste 2-3 times every day, every tanks, and so we decide when the time of maceration is okay. So we just started to separate the wine from the skins. We just started. Because the grapes are very rich of tannins this year, and I think that are not perfect in maturation. So we have to shorter the time of maceration.
Yeah. One last question from my perspective: who's the better winemaker, you or Gianni?
It's not here, Gianni. I can see everything.
For everyone that
It's
doesn't know, Gianni is the assistant, but
it's my house.
You two are crazy.
We do together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm going to ask him later who's better, you or him. It'll be interesting to compare his answer to yours.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Couple of things of.
Sorry.
Okay. I don't understand if the people have the glass and taste the wine
Yes.
or not.
Yes, they do.
See, everybody
Okay,
has samples with them of each of these different wines.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So
Except for Vito, of course. Vito doesn't have it.
I have one.
Well, I want to taste. I want to taste as well.
Stefano.
We'll set you up, Stefano.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Anything you want to say about Viacosta before we go on, Enrico?
Yes, okay, okay. The Classico from Vigna Viacosta is made only in the best vintage, and also when the quantity is enough for the regular. And is 100% Sangiovese from always from the first vintage that was 1986. At that time, it was not allowed to make Chianti Classico 100% of Sangiovese. In Italy, there are the law and also the rest. You can do what you want.
The laws are just a suggestion, just like, you know, stoplights and stop signs. It's if you want.
And I think that for the Chianti Classico, the decision of to make the law that you can do Chianti Classico with 80 minimum to 100% is the best choice. So everyone can choose what they like more. So it's not like other that is 100%. You know. But I believe that for the expression of terroir and of the wine, 100% is the best choice.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful wine for sure.
Delicious. Yeah.
Also Sangiovese with some indigenous grapes is not so bad. But
not too bad. Enrico, molte grazie.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a little flyover here just to, you know, geographically, visually be able to see where we're going here. So let's see if this is going to act up correctly. And let's see if we can go to the next spot here. And let's see. Oh, I don't know exactly what's going on. Oh, we're in Florida. Oh, look at this.
Yeah. Vito, what are you doing in the backyard? Huh?
Vito is presenting from beautiful the Midtown Athletic Club. Is that where you are, Vito? And no, I'm of course joke. We are sneaking back, not where Vito is, but to what he's presenting here in Montalcino. Vito, it is always a pleasure, my friend, to have you presenting and getting to see your smiling face. So there you are, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, Midtown is the club that you and I share. You have Midtown in Chicago. I have Midtown in Florida. 5 minutes ago, I was trying to call Rudy to have a little appearance from him, but he's also like Stefano and like Enrico. This in the cellar going crazy this time of the year. I was able to chat with him while I was watching Stefano's and Enrico presentation. But Terra Rossa, it's an extension. It's an extension of this beautiful reality that, as a matter of fact, Rodolfo's grandfather, Bramante, started in the 60s, and then his idea to start something in the wine business, because Bramante, Rodolfo's grandfather, was a mechanic, fixing tractors, and then Rudy's father, Roberto, owned a shop where they sold tractors and all the equipment that was needed in the vineyard. Therefore, of course, you know, there was love for the vineyards, like most people that live in wine country, regardless if it's Piemonte or Tuscany. But then Roberto took it to the next step. And in 1971, he purchased a small estate with no cellar and no vineyards planted yet. In a time when in Montalcino there were 28 Brunello's producer, that was it, against the 257 Brunello producers that we have today. He planted his first 3 hectares, and in more or less 1980, bottled the first 4,000 bottles. And unfortunately, you know, life always throws you a curveball once in a while, and Roberto passed quite young. Roberto passed in 1989, and Rudy, who had recently joined the family business in 1984, all of a sudden he had all this responsibility. The main one to keep producing wine with the same passion and style like his father and his enologist, his consulting enologist. But being Rudy, and some of you know Rudy quite well, a very what's the right term?
Accomplished.
Yes, accomplished also in many other things like motorcycle racing and car racing. But I can simplify all, a very smart with a lot of foresight. And as a matter of fact, Rudy, as soon as he joined in '84 the family business, and he learned on his own. He didn't go to school. He learned on his own winemaking by watching his father and the consulting enologist. Only in 1985, 1 year after he joined, he already came out with his own wine, with the one, if maybe not, the first cru in Montalcino called Sassello, using or copying a little bit from the French, especially from Bordeaux, using French oak, and he produced the Sassello, which is a beautiful single vineyard Brunello di Montalcino, and he still produces under the Poggiolo label. Terra Rossa was really interesting to know, an idea of Blair, Michael's friend and let's say ex-partner or ex-owner of Enotec, was an idea of Blair and a suggestion to Rudy because they wanted a more fresh style, a more modern approach to winemaking in Montalcino. And Rudy went along and created this parallel line of Rosso di Montalcino, Sangiovese di Toscana, and beautiful Brunello, with more use of French oak, more use of smaller barrels, more or less in the tonneau, in the 500 liters French barrels. And the result, frankly, has been wonderful. Enotec, Michael carry both lines, carry Il Poggiolo Montalcino and Terra Rossa Montalcino, and it's easy really to see the difference. You know, sometimes you see wineries that make 2 lines of wines, but then it's the same wine between us. But on the other hand, with Terra Rossa and Il Poggiolo, there is quite a difference between each wine, the Brunello or the Rosso from Terra Rossa and Il Poggiolo. And today, I believe you guys are gonna taste, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, the 2017 Rosso. 17? Yes, as Enrico was saying before, an interesting vintage, a nice vintage. Rudy doesn't touch much this wine. He has a very short, maybe for some people long, but in my opinion, a short approach with oak, just 8 months. This wine goes in oak. Unfortunately, Stefano and I cannot taste the wines because they didn't send us any samples, but it's okay.
Michael, we'll have to figure it out next time.
What the heck, miseria.
You know what? It's a COVID thing, okay, everyone? Can you just cut me a little bit of slack here?
like our agent, Stefano's agent in Quebec said, "E che cozza?" Well, I'm not gonna translate, but it's okay. He changed the vowels. But a beautiful wine I tasted recently. I'm out of samples myself. Extremely fresh, beautiful length, nice level of acidity. To me, like I always say about Stefano wines, you know, when I drink Terra Rossa wines, my favorite wines from either winery, because I have the pleasure to work also with Stefano, is the Nebbiolo. Stefano's Nebbiolo is one of my favorite wine because it's that step above from the importance of the Barolo, and the Rosso, which is that step below, I'm sorry, not above, below from the Brunello. So I find them much easier to pair with a lot of food, much more approachable.
Vito, you are on your way to Barolo and Brunello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Vito. Rudy has told me that he makes this wine. The intent from the beginning is to make Barolo 100%, and then this ends up being more or less a declassified Brunello, as opposed to many people in Brunello. They grow their Sangiovese Grosso differently when they're making a Rosso. Right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, a couple of times I even got both of us, Rudy and I, have some sort of interesting personalities to say, and and a couple of times I argued with him because exactly what you're saying. And the same thing happens realistically with Stefano and some of our wines, some of our Nebbiolos. We could really make them into Barolo depending on the area. But talking about Rudy at this point, yes, it practically declassifies grape that could go into our Brunello, and every year, as you know, Michael, we're out of stock, but we also believe it's quite important to offer a complete line to our customers, to our importers, to our consumers. It's Brunello, the Rosso, and I think even Rudy's Sangiovese is quite basic. Sangiovese is quite an important Sangiovese. So yes, it's true. He declassifies the grape for the Brunello to make a wonderful, wonderful Rosso. That's today, just to complete the image, going back to the beginning of this wonderful estate, aka Il Poggiolo / Terra Rossa. Back then were 3 hectares, what Roberto Cosimi purchased. Today, Rudy, then in the years, has purchased more land all around, all around the winery. And today we have 8.5 hectares of vineyard. More or less, we do between 50 to 60 quintals of grape per hectare, and that's more or less what I have for you on Terra Rossa in this wonderful wine. And I'm very proud because you can see in this picture, if you go on the terrarossa.montalcino.it website,
or Enotec's website, enotec.net.
Well, I don't know if you have it on your website, Marco. You can see the old Terra Rossa label and the little changes that we have made to the label when I joined also Rudy and Cecilia. And by the way, how rude of me. We also have to give credit to Cecilia, Rudy's victim, I can call it, because she's the one who takes all the blames when things don't go well. But of course, Rudy, like every winemaker, he takes all the credit when great. Cecilia is Rudy's partner, and she's an important part of this equation.
Yeah, so awesome. Now I've just put the winemaker note up here. These are available on our website, www.enotec.net. And we've got master information sheets, shelf talkers, etc. So yeah, thank you to our 3 wonderful partners. All of you do such amazing things, and we're honored to represent your products here in the United States. So Stefano, bravo. Enrico, grazie mille. Vito, leave me alone, okay?
I'm calling you in 5 minutes.
Leave me. I can't talk to you anymore today. Okay, please. I need a break.
I need some orders.
Well, thank you all very much for the presentation today. It has been more than fun to travel all over Italy with you guys. And Michael, I believe you are in either Colorado or Minnesota. I'm Minnesota, Michigan.
I'm in Detroit in the Big D. Okay,
Awesome.
so we're happy to be just across the lake from you guys. But you know, hopefully we can get everyone over to Italy again soon. And we appreciate all of your time and your palates, and welcome any questions that you have either now or later. So Joe, thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So we will go ahead and take on some questions, but right now I'm going to stop our recording. And before I do that, I did want to just thank our hosts, as Michael has already, with Stefano, with Enrico, and of course with the very colorful Vito. Thank you guys very much for that.